Okay, I guess I'm doing a bit of an experiment today because nothing on my phone is working whatsoever, having some technical malfunctions. But I said that I'm going to do a video every single day, and I've done it for over 200 days in a row. So um, we're still going to make it happen. I wanted to explain in my video what is invisible jiu-jitsu. This is a topic that I've been getting from some of my students and something that I sort of wanted to go on a rant and explain on here. I can't seem to get anything going with my phone, my memory, bringing up videos on my computer, the editing software, nothing is working. So we will go on live and we'll make the video happen that way. So in a broad sense, I think invisible jiu-jitsu is anything that you don't see with the naked eye, anything that um, is not very visible in the actual techniques that you're doing. If a technique has 10 given steps, you have a certain body position in those 10 steps. That's the visible part, and everything else underlying is the invisible part. And I would break this down into four separate categories. Um, to kind of understand everything that's going on in a much more detailed sense. Of course, big respect to Hickson Gracie. He's the one who kind of coined this term. And if you want the true definition, you would actually have to ask him. So, um, the first kind of point here in diving deeper into it is having a certain sensibility to your opponent when you are fighting them. If you can feel what their energy level is, if they're tired or if they have a lot of energy, are they frustrated? What's their current level of emotional control? If your bodies are close enough, you could even feel their heartbeat. Um, what emotions are they experiencing in the fight? Are they close to being defeated? Are they defeated mentally already? Are they not defeated mentally? um, so having this certain sensibility is really important and a key tenet of invisible jiu-jitsu. People even roll blindfolded so that they could sort of increase their sensibility. And then, even in a more kind of advanced idea or scenario, if you really combine this with good understanding of the positioning that you're in, then you know what options that person has from that positioning. And you could use your knowledge of the sensibility that you have to be able to predict the next option that they are going to. Generally, there's a limited amount of options the deeper you go into these positions, and you can predict which option they are going to by understanding and having the sense of what they are doing. The next key tenet, I would say, is if you can change someone's beliefs or psychology. And before I sound like I'm crazy, let me give you an example of what I mean when I say this. Um, if you have really good defense, if you have really good ability to escape from pinning positions, if you have really good ability to defend yourself with submissions, you can actually get to a point where you're grappling with someone and you make them believe that they could no longer defeat you, that they don't possess the skills to be able to get the submission and defeat you. And this is a powerful tool in a fight or match or whatever you want to call it. If your opponent believes that they cannot beat you, then it is only you who can win from that scenario. So being able to use your techniques to change someone's psychology, change their beliefs, I believe is an important part of invisible jiu-jitsu as well. And there's many other examples or ideas of this. The third and arguably most important part of Invisible Jiu-Jitsu is that there is a conceptual undertone to uh, every single position in Jiu-Jitsu. If you saw Hickson go on the Joe Rogan Experience, you famously heard him say that I start at a 0 point and I move from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And what he's talking about is he is funneling down somebody's options until that they have no choice but to tap. He is gaining a sense of advantage that he is going to try to attack from. And this exists throughout every single position in jiu-jitsu, this idea of attacking from a sense of advantage. So this can exist at the micro level of positioning and at the macro level of all of jiu-jitsu. And understanding the conceptual framework that you're in based on the current position that you're in is important. Um, for example, I love to teach guard passing. And when I teach guard passing, I teach ideas like what is inside position? How do you tell if you are currently winning or if you are losing? If you are currently winning, then you can continue to win and press forward with your offense. But if you are losing in this exact second, then you need to switch to a scenario where you're defending and you're on a defensive kind of cycle. Then understanding what the goals are from the top position, what the goals are from the bottom position of the two practitioners or athletes is a very important idea. Um, there are many, many principles that underlie all of these techniques, and that's something that's invisible that's happening that kind of gives a context of what the what and when you decide to actually use those techniques. So when I have someone who's been training for 10 years and I explain to them then the context of which the technique should sit in, they see a huge increase in their jiu-jitsu because they can then understand when to apply each of the techniques um, by understanding that context and that framework. And when I tell someone this that just started off doing jujitsu, they could sort of fit all of the techniques that they learn into their framework or understanding of that section of that position. Um, so this is a very important idea in invisible jiu-jitsu, in my opinion. And the last kind of slice or part of invisible jiu-jitsu, in my view, is that there are many micro adjustments. There are many ways that you can, usually using the floor, but there are others, usually using the floor to increase the amount of leverage that you have with your positioning. So, just to sort of give you an example, my mom was wanting me to explain to her what the horse stance was. And this is not something that's very like jujitsu orientated. Trying to figure out how to set this up here, but this is something that I think could give you an example of what I mean, as I am kind of alone in my apartment here. If you are able to get into a certain stance, then if someone were to push into me, I could push back into them with a lot of force. I can really meet them. I could use my feet and my leverage off the ground to be able to push back. But if I have a square stance where my feet are together like this, if someone just took 2 fingers, I would need to kind of take a step to be able to regain my balance. So what they teach in this is generally in other martial arts, they teach this, not in jiu-jitsu necessarily, but the idea of bending your legs and getting into a horse stance, The idea is from a position where you wouldn't have base, where your feet are together, can you have, they call good rooting, where someone can push into you and your force can go into the floor rather than be off balance backwards. And there are many, many positions in jujitsu that just by a minor adjustment in your positioning, a minor adjustment in your stance, a minor adjustment of how you keep your frame, about how you use your levers, how you use the fulcrum, can make a huge, huge difference in the level of efficiency that you are using the technique with. So that is my rant on Invisible Jiu-Jitsu. I hope it helps. I hope it gives a answer that people can sort of take apart and understand better. But I I successfully, I guess, did my video of the day, even though everything went wrong with my phone, my editing software, um, iMovie, everything is destroyed. I got to go to the Apple store and fix that all. But I still hopped on live here to do my daily video of the day and explain what Invisible Jiu Jitsu is. Thank you guys so much. I love you all. Big respect to Hickson Gracie for sort of coining the phrase and coming up with the idea. And I wish you guys all the best in your martial arts and jujitsu journey. Thank you all so much and have a great night.